as the victim, I think you still need to be aware that
Absolutely.
that 15% could mean your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You know, just because 80% is good, you really need to think about the other percentage that in an instant you could be gone.
No, absolutely, and I agree. And I sit on a group of people that sit around in a group like this called the Intimate Partner Violence Death Review Team. So we actually review people that have been murdered at the hands of their abusive partners in some manner. So it can happen. So you do have to be very careful. And I'm not in any way promoting that that 15% is a reason to stay. I'm just saying that we understand that sometimes the majority of the time it's good. So it's hard to leave.
No, I know someone that had, I believe it was multiple personality disorder or bipolar or a mixture of the both. He wouldn't admit to it, and it just, if he's not willing to get help for changing his life and life of everyone around him, then he's not going to change.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Getting help is the important part. Not everybody's going to choose to do that. And I can't even say, I'm just speculating. I can't even say Chris Brown is going to change, right? We don't know if he's actually never going to assault her again. All we can do is hope. And now that they're back together, we can just look at that situation and say, obviously she would match him for a reason. And, you know, he knows. He knows if he's changed or not, right?
And one of the things we need to be aware of is that, you know, statistically it's shown that most victims leave a relationship 7 times before they actually stay gone or they're dead.
Right.
Wow.
So 7 times is a lot of times to come and go. And especially when there's children involved.
Yes.
We really need to think about that.
Technology is a weapon, right? Again, we all have cell phones. We use our cell phones to communicate. As teenagers especially, text messaging is huge, right? I have 2 teenagers on my cell phone account, and I look at their usage, because I pay the bills, so I look at their usage, and it's like maybe 100 minutes of talk time, maybe. Like 25 to 3,500 text messages, right? So we know this is how you guys are communicating. And they say 1 out of every 3 teenagers in a dating relationship is reporting receiving between 10 and 30 text messages an hour from their dating partner. And that doesn't mean they're all harassing messages. They could just be, I love you too, I miss you too. But we know this is how you guys are communicating, right? Sending threatening text messages. And then using the social sites, right? We talked about Facebook earlier, and using these social sites as a weapon, right? When you first meet somebody, and again, we're talking about that whole honeymoon, totally in love, I trust you more than anything in the world, God created you for me. Of course I'll share my password with you. I have nothing to hide. So you share your passwords. You share your password for your phone. You share your password for your Facebook, for your email, right? But it's when things start to go a little south, or you start to have some of those issues that start to arise, which will happen, that all of a sudden, did you give them permission to go into your Facebook? Or did you give them permission to go into your email? But they have your passwords, right? So you just want to be really careful about sharing that information with your partner, even though you totally trust them. It's just one of those things. It can be a healthy boundary that you can say, you know, let's just not even open this door. Let's just try to keep those things personal and you'll keep those boundaries there, because you don't want it to turn into something that they can use as a weapon, okay? All right, so I want to move into sexting, okay? And I think this is really important. This is a really important part of this presentation if you walk away with, information that you walk away with. Sexting is really dangerous, okay? Because not only can somebody use this as a weapon later if they're trying to control you, if you don't do this for me, I'm going to show this to your parents. I'm going to show this to the people in the school. I'm going to send this out, right? So it's a way for somebody to blackmail you, number 1. Number 2, it's actually, in the state of New Mexico, it's illegal, right, to send pictures of an explicit nature of somebody who's under 18, right? What is that called? Child pornography, right? You're distributing child pornography, right? So if you get a message like that and you forward it to somebody else, what are you doing, right? If you're sending messages like that of yourself and you're under 18, you got to be careful. And they're really starting to crack down on this stuff across the country, okay? This guy, right, his name is Philip Albert, and he's in, Albert. He's in Florida, okay, 18 years old. Him and his girlfriend had been together for, I think, like 2.5 years, okay? She was 16. She sent him a picture willingly, right? You, my girlfriend, send me, I miss you, right? No big deal. Well, they got in a fight, and one night, in the middle of the night, he woke up. He was mad at her. He forwarded this picture to everybody in her contact list because he was mad and went back to bed, not really thinking much of it, okay? Well, she's 16. So her parents pressed charges against him, and now he's 18 years old. He is a sex offender. He has to register as a sex offender until he's 43 years old. Okay, he is a felon. He had to move out of his dad's house because his dad lived too close to a school, and as a sex offender, you can't live within a certain vicinity of a school, right? And this is a picture that was willingly sent to him by his girlfriend. So you just got to be really careful because they're cracking down on this stuff more and more throughout the country. Okay? All right. Any questions about sexting? All right. So if you've done it, don't do it again. That's my suggestion. Because and I didn't mention this too. Once you send a picture, even if you delete it once you send it, and say they delete it once they receive it, there is a digital footprint that is left that can always be retrieved, okay? So once you hit send, you can never take it back, right? There will always be a copy of that picture out there somewhere.
Hey, Megan. Nice.
All right, quiet down. Thank you. Quiet, please, everyone. Shane Andrews.
Yes.
Emily Abbott.
Here.
Graham Carl.
Yes.
Jessica Collins.
Here.
Kate Copper.
Present.
Charles Douglas.
Yep.
Sarah Dobson.
Here.
Kerry Hall.
Present.
Brent Holbrook.
Yep.
Claire Henderson.
Yep.
Regan Simpson.
Yes.
Megan Edgerton. Megan? Megan. Megan Edgerton. Megan.
Think you know what happens to your images? Who will see them? How they will affect you? Think again.
I want to mention that girls in high school that are in abusive relationships are actually at a higher risk for getting pregnant, okay? And there's a reason for that, because another way to try to control somebody else, what do you think another way to try to control somebody to stay with you or stay attached to you is?
Get them yours forever.
Get them pregnant, right? Have a child with them, right? Birth control sabotage. Okay, birth control sabotage is a different type of controlling behavior, right? It's actually considered abusive behavior. So that would be things like replacing birth control pills, okay? Poking holes in condoms.
I don't think men are the only ones who do that.
Not at all.
I know people who,
Trap.
I'm taking my pill, it's okay, you don't have to wear a condom.
Right? Lying
That's
about
how
taking
they
birth
try
control.
to trap the guy.
Right? No, absolutely, you're right. Or puncturing holes in condoms, right? Threatening if you want to use birth control. Well, you must be sleeping with somebody else if you want to use a condom, right? You didn't use them last week, right? The point of it is you always have the right to exercise birth control, always, right? And if somebody is getting upset with you or mad with you because you want to use birth control or vice versa, and you're lying to your partner about using it, that can be one of the most life-altering forms of abuse. There's also something called pregnancy pressure, right? It's kind of like the same, if you don't sleep with me, then I'm going to go get it from somewhere else. Same thing, if you don't have my baby, then I'll go have one with so-and-so, right? Or say you already have a child, and you're trying to date, and they're like, well, you love this person and you have their child. If you love me, you'll have mine too, kind of thing, right? The most dangerous time for a person in an abusive relationship is either during the relationship or right after you break up. Right? So if you are in a relationship that's like that, or if you have friends that are in a relationship that's like that, know that that's when it becomes really dangerous, and you want to make sure you have a support system. That's when it becomes really important to know what resources you guys have. I know here you have a really amazing resource with your teacher, right? And that all of you know that are in her class. She's a great person to go to. But knowing who those people are around you, whether they're teachers or counselors, or even like an older brother or sister, parents, just an adult. A lot of times we want to go to our friends because, well, our friends aren't going to make us break up with somebody, right? Or our friends are somebody that we trust. But when it comes to, if you're in a dangerous situation, when it comes to that, you want to make sure that there's a trusted adult in your life that you're talking to that can help you navigate through those situations safely, okay? And that's the kind of advice you want to make sure you give your friends too.
Excuse me.
Okay.
What is the rule or whatever you want to call it? I know with us as adults, if we see or we suspect abuse, we need to report it. What about these young ladies? If they know that their friend is being abused, report it?
Well, we can't make you do anything, or as if you would feel like you're snitching on your friends or something. All we can do is encourage you to stand up for your friends and actually try to help them. Maybe talk to somebody. Suggest, would you like me to go talk to somebody with you? This isn't cool. This can get dangerous. You know what I learned today in class? And share with them the information you have. But we can't force you to do anything. We can just hope we can encourage you to. Yes.
I actually had a friend not too long ago, and she was always in abusive relationships with different guys, and every time we would talk to her, we'd sit there and talk to her about it. She'd, oh, please don't tell, don't tell anybody, I love this person, it'll go away, it'll stop, stuff like that. And like, I mean, she did have some cause in it, because like she would start hitting. Like maybe 2 years ago, one of her boyfriends just walked up to her and hit her, and she thought it was okay. And I talked to her about it, and she just, please don't tell anybody, I love him, he's all I've got. And she did grow up in a really abusive, like, home, yeah. Her dad was not only abusive to her mom, but her brothers and her sisters and herself.